The letters that I'm hearing is that the end game of the same GN Savings and Loans Company for Court of Appeal, among unanimous decision to restore. No, we interested in the case. Are also driving it to Supreme Court. Into omoni NGP Brasan is Nintia Inyane so say ansha Supreme Court ebebem because mo ka case hono are driving the case from Court of Appeal to Supreme Court. Would it solve a problem? I mean, is it the end game having the license to operate back near the moment? Would it be an end game for GN Savings and Loans and
Yo, medasi bebre mecha oni atifo ni ahwefo nyina anyway. Ni titi nyina ya restore no. If you ask me, what I would say is it's going to be very challenging to them because besides the quality of the assets, I know war before Bank of Ghana went in to revoke the licenses now. Clearly, Bank of Ghana has got some tenets. Once you are operating within the financial sector now, you should be able to abide by those rules and regulations. As at then, I think that was somewhere, I guess, 2016, 2017, thereabout. By then, Bank of Ghana minimum requirement in terms of capital was 400 million. 400 million on that, they hadn't been able to meet it.
That was 2019.
Yes. Books non so there is what we call the capital adequacy ratio. By capital adequacy ratio, we are referring to say shareholders any depositors sika omodia ma nyina no ye kase kofabra ena ubenya ediaba na, that is the capital adequacy. Inti yebope say obia ni sika wo obia ni shareholders obia meji ni sika, how prepared are you so obitimi enye omunyina sika ediama omo. As at the time of revocation, Bank of Ghana has set the target to be 13%. Inti anya no you say financial institution will operate, you have some assets, or build some branches. Inti sikano bi bekwa akwa assets ne sika enons would be to Bank of Ghana e de abo braka krakra. Inti Bank of Ghana had been quite lenient. No asset capital adequacy ratio to 13%. But as at the time of revocation, they had a negative, I think 61 or 62% capital adequacy ratio. Into literally, I say deposits I work bank no in probably is going into a branch opening other assets na omo atoto. Shareholders and so sika and also no one so their shame what kind of deposits nina bomwa na o hwehwe se eskanwa into negative 62%. Enti Bank of Ghana jai or moka so one kasa crying or pretty we are all witnesses to what customers were going through. They were struggling to make such payments. And the Bank of Ghana looked at the books as at the time and on the revoke license because I'm our target of 13%. Now 13% what may roll to zero, now into the negatives of about 62%. It was very, very worrying. Now Bank of Ghana wanted to protect the depositors into it was everything was transferred to I think Consolidated Banker the argument that GN Bank were raising at the time was that they had financed certain government projects. Or more customers were na ebimu kwai ebimu sisi school dying and dating back 3-4 years na aban enyentuaye government was supposed to pay these monies to our customers na fi our customers no so e may pay our loans not down. But then aside that incident, there is what we called the credit framework. With the credit framework, what was the arrangement? Because Aban is the principal, our customer ene no eye dwumadie ba wo no nso no wo business eye between wo ene wo customer no. And what was the commitment of the principal, which is aban no customer no no na commitment saying so twes ka no edema direct and na say so we kwan wi ana we school na wi and so matua no omo contractual agreement no saying na eko enti asa den no na wuntimi mfa the situation between ono ne customer and the principal, i.e. the government no entimi nka sembebre, because you might not be privy to the contractual agreement and omo no say ometima ye contract na wie anase omo ntimi enye contract no enwie samre ya the license na mo no. It is going to be very interesting because depositors, that is current savings accounts for now no more bind consolidated bank what is going to happen? Are they going to now bulk that sum, have a consolidated amount, and then pass it on to GN now our license no for them to pay now all of these while non so omo customers na non so na so omo ebetua loans na no omo ntua no are interest going to be worked from the time of the seizure of their license and so it's going to be very interesting but yen share di mu kakra na yen hu kwan ombefa so ombetimi resolve it. But it's also interesting say we GN the lawyers na those times no more Deputy Attorney General said na odi akotene wo mu pa. So there's been that question of say was it politically motivated and now say did the politicians have any dealing within it? I mean the judiciary is supposed to be an independent body, so for now we assume say they pass the judgment based on whatever that is on per the facts that were presented by the lawyers. But that school of thoughts or the what some people will say, how do I even put it, conspiracy theorists who are saying it was meddled with a lot of political affiliations, superflections, I don't know how that one comes into play, but we all strongly believe say the judiciary passed their judgment based on the facts that were available. And essentially, it was like, yes, they owe or their capital adequacy ratio was negative. Now, going forward, what is going to be the response of Bank of Ghana? Because as far as Onono were regulator, every financial institution be as a regulator, no. Onono dia man tenants say these are the rules that you should play by the game that you want to play with me, because I am your regulator. Well, capital adequacy ratio should be 13%. Well, minimum capital should be 400 million. And our setting way into Onono so emrama na kwan say so will be fall short of rules of engagement now no dia financial institution na emrama so man kwan say on revoke license no. Enti say na GN a winning case no on the ground say a buying so a day or more customers be more car now come to and I'm to make any scar at the Arane bank no. How is it going to play out? Until next time no a Bank of Ghana a coin to another institution now they are not playing by the rules now no so ABA ne credit framework no a week now remember some loans bia principals ni next time no how are they going to be able to have that conversation? I think it puts Bank of Ghana in a very difficult situation, because this is the position where you are trying to insist on the right things to be done per the rules of engagement. What any say oh pretty financial institution there, these should be the rules I say you play by. But now there are externalities or external factors are involving a principal, i.e. Government of Ghana. Next time, if the principal is not Bank of Ghana and it's another company, how is it going to play out? A principal is a principal. If you go into the financial institution or the financial setup, loan na principal bi na say no this cannot bar. Though you are able to assign a score, credit score, based on the kind of principal that you are dealing with. In the Bank of Government of Ghana, there, it's you are guaranteed by sovereignty. No risk no ever from. But I am also aware of a lot of the financial institutions that refuse to do government credit papers because check and so there were a lot of these institutions who are no longer financing government projects. Risk appetite say finance projects. Now that the scan also how is it going to play out? So to be fair, I think Bank of Ghana is going to have a very serious issue to deal with. It's going to be very difficult for them when there is another case. They have to apply the rule.
Okay. Now, more two questions. Back the ordinary Ghanaian who needs to then understand, say, yes, say a restore license, and the Omadri Muno, and ye sika Muno, yen Sabekan ye sika, omuoho. But my main question, now, Dr. Pakwesi Ndum, and yes, I mean, alleged that almost about 40 billion around that time, 2018, he stands to gain almost about 1.8 billion be extra or something to make up because of Nisika Seminar. Now, he held a meeting with Dr. Ernest Addison then. That was 7 months after January 4, 2019. A car said, Umbra fund from Universal Bank to the savings and loans. Now, or the past savings and loans are also to Chicago. The better say announcement and say yes, you close a GN savings and loans. That made him feel it was more political because then if the threshold now Muhiano was 400, nasa onya nasa onena a meeting a catch and say Omra form from Universal Bank to a savings and loans. Why you document or their bro when Bisane She all of a sudden he hears an announcement on radio and says Yaje Bank no FNSM. Was the system fair around that time? Say Sebi why ye bibisa ama ahochire bi say abana.
As far as Bank of Ghana is concerned, they don't just get up, walk into your institution to say we are closing you down. No. As much as possible, they try to protect the public interest. Inti se we nis kakra mpo na okwa ye ma obosia kakra na odi aba na odi yo operations kakra. At any point in time, they support the banks with liquidity. Inti we nis kakra mpo akwa na itimi ma kakra na odi abetuatua. Then you are doing mobilization na fi utuatua omo kakra. My understanding is that the rate at which, even if it didn't come from Bank of Ghana, once there were no new capital injection, yet you are using depositors' funds to open new and more branches. To be able to open a full-fledged branch as a full-fledged branch of your institution, you need minimum 300 million. Minimum 300 million, because capital assets will have to come in. You buy generators, standby generators, staff, recruitment, and all of that. Ubi a branch non so why are dear pa even in a very prime area in Ghana? How it might break even should take you between 6 and 1 year, 6 months and then 1 year. In TSO who said the first 6 months need the minimum. You are not getting anything from it. Obey to your staff salaries, recurring costs you are going to incur it, operational costs you are going to incur it. Just a BBI, say we see our branch in Ubia no, Obebosa minimum for 6 months. Yamiya wadom nebia wo business side no, near to me running ye, ABA free bear 7 months, a kukusi 1 year no what will be to my break even. Into the conversation Bank of Ghana was having is that we are giving you support, or we are giving you a leeway. Sebionsu yafa na ye ma obibi kakra de akipu afloat a woda wo se wo pese okuku biarepo So these are some of the conversations that Bank of Ghana was having with them. Say they should slow down on the new branch openings. I don't know, costly, which will also take you a bit of time before you start breaking even. By breaking even, you say a car what born within the month, no. What masienyeska wa moka also we nyamfa, so that is break even point. Enti ansa na obedu that point no na eni ye kra de busumi nsia bia de na edi ewo ho. Enti sa busumi nsia no support na ye de ma wo no e na wo de san ebe support sa operation no for sa busumi nsia na asesen. So there were those conversations that had not been heeded to. Hence Bank of Ghana coming in to revoke the license. Yes, so you would have agreed to downgrade your license, your institution. However, advice I had going forward say we are these could be the repercussions. Na and on went na or it is going to generate more problems, more challenges for the depositor. Intina oba in na babiana aseyedru no be absorb whatever liability it was no to your depositors na car na ebeboa. So those were the conversations that had gone on. It was about the extensive branch opening and other capital assets na institution no acquire, which Bank of Ghana felt say at that time they were to hold on, now almost stabilize it in terms of finances now. Then later they could look at the branch opening, because Osha, I think GN literally everywhere, every town,
they were everywhere.
Every village they were there.
Yes.
And so who said so all of these branches, a lot of them were facilities are one kasa in the sea. It wasn't about rent, and a one kasa water see who provide bullion services, strong room, standby generator, computers, and some staff, and so abba and in the next 6 months. Those branch and yes about all over the place now. Kano bro gusu sana na ya dia na ebe hadwen asen sene na omo expecting on internet say omo bamtem na omo be seize sana money. So let's see say now omo restore no how it's going to be quite interesting, because a lot of these deposits have been paid by Consolidated Bank. Inti say no ombesan e de sa kana pa ko momo anase wakonya investors bi aba a obenye sky de tutua. How about the government? Because say those monies that hadn't come in, I'm sure by now some of those payments had gone through. If you are unable to trace those assets that you had, me sure say by now abanya tutua sa contractors na institution no nso ni hono, are they going to make themselves available to pay all of those liabilities now? How is it going to play out? I think it's going to be interesting in the coming days. But my challenge cry and it is going forward about Bank of Ghana. How should they be cracking the whip? Because I want to set the rules of engagement. When you saw on bit my job, I'm the license now. When you saw on bit my job license now, be any so no license now we are bringing an externality, which is the principal. Our principal no buying. What happens next time if it is another principal? I am say buying and I say another principal cry and buying another. A principal is a principal. It's going to be interesting in the coming days.
Dog, ne crack no. The ordinary Ghanaian ATO, Dr. Christian Techijan, says na mate as ordinary Ghanaian on the street say yes, say oh ye domo lances are mono, enti misika ebebano, sankrofno, anase timemufo a ye dwene sa no, ye nyeden, edi empani en kantre.
If you ask me, it's going to be very difficult for them because they've suffered reputational risk, what we call reputational risk. Enti sebi obi kura wona dwen se o besan no makwa ye adwuma o woka no pembre bi nti no ohun so no e bakra mpo na anhwa o besan adwane enti obi a ne kakra bi e ka ho no be na adwen se ebi a wo baba beje Now to be able to attract the needed depositors and on I think they are going to struggle a bit, even if they've gotten certain investors and also a buffer be sika to be able to attract people to come and deposit or bank with them. No, I think they are really going to struggle. Let's see. Yes, we'll be and sit through the matwa. So let's see those who had their funds with them, how they are going to respond to that news. And in the coming days, I think every event is going to unfold.
All right, Doc, you better say